That old world charm, doo-doo-doo-doo. That old world charm, reviews say it's alright.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 34 of That Old World Charm. We're joined by the full triumvirate of the old world, myself, Peter, the man-meat Danny McDevitt himself. I mashed your names together for the lols.
It's fine.
I'm into it. A mistake. How you doing, Danny?
Adam, I'm doing great, actually. I'm excited to be here, and I'm glad that we can talk about Warhammer.
Yeah. I got to say, Danny, there's not enough charm in your old world life at the moment. Like, we're trying to entice Danny to play a game with either me or Peter sometime soon.
I need to do it very badly because it's been a minute since I've actually played.
Yeah, we got to get in some games with some new stuff and try some stuff and be fun.
For sure.
Yes, we may or may not have new stuff, but we can't talk about said new stuff. Peter, how you doing, brother?
I'm tired.
Fair.
I'm a sleepy baby. I'm just like, my babies, I'm sorry. I am sleepy.
Are you saying your reading of the italic text is going to be less rambunctious than usual?
I have my laptop on my chest right now, as close to me as possible because I'm squinting so hard. We'll have to see what happens.
Gonna have to get you some bifocals sooner or later. But anyway, we're here to review the Grand Empire, the army of man in this here old world, because we know we have an Arcane Journal on the horizon, and we need to get this part of the review done so that when we review that one, we have it in context, unlike what we did with Orcs, which we shall never do again. But we are starting this review on page 47. Of course, if anybody likes this content, if you are an enjoyer of the old world, come over to Patreon, That Old World Charm, sign up. Full second part of this podcast, which will be an Empire Q&A, lovingly provided by our beautiful Patreons. You can get also access to our Discord, which is pretty pumping at the moment. A lot of movement and shaking, especially with S-Bot being over and everyone talking about how to beat the new big bad, which was Brett's, now is Wox, was Tomb King's in the middle there. We'll see what's next. But we're going to be starting this review on page 40 of the 7. Now, Peter and I are both Empire players, so I've been playing quite a bit of Empire.
Very recently. Recently.
Yeah, very recently. Well, I'm an active Empire player, so while I will not take the lead on this necessarily, I do have probably the more relevant opinions at this exact moment, and we shall see when the Arcane Journal drops. But page 47.
I just want to know how your Toughness 3 army can win games. That's what's important to me. I'm well, hear these.
And the answer is it doesn't. I mean,
as somebody who may have won one game with Empire out of 5 or 6, I can definitely attest to how. Oh boy, how? But anyway, Peter, my love,
yes.
The Grand Army composition. Anything spicy here, or is this just the most vanilla ice cream one in the entire world?
I mean, this is the Empire of Man, my man. It has to be vanilla. That's like the whole concept. Is like mankind is, they're boring. Innovative and they're boring. They're not. They're
innovative and boring.
They're faster than undead. They're slightly smarter than orcs and goblins. They've got engineers that aren't quite as good as dwarves, yet they make bigger cannons. They've got knights that aren't as good as Bretonia, but they
have knights.
They have knights.
Yeah.
They can field a lot of dudes, but they don't come back from the dead. Well, they do, but for the other guys. That's the whole point of Empire is they're slightly worse at everything, but they can
and they have demigriffs.
Oh, and they have demigriffins.
Correct.
Which is when a horse and a griffin have sex, right?
Yes. Everyone, don't imagine that. Anyway, you can have 0 to 1 general or Grand Master, 0 to 1 Lector or High Priest of Ulrich per 1,000 each. And then, of course, Captains, Wizards, Wizard Lords, etc., ad nauseum, 0 to 1 War Altar of Sigmar. So you can never take 2 War Altars. You have to have at least 25% of 0 to 1 Veteran State Troops per 1,000 points, and then State Troops, Missile Troops, Free Company, Militia, Archers, and Knights. Thank God they let you take Knights as core. Otherwise, this would be the worst. Special has Inner Circle Knights, 1 per 1,000. In reality, that should be demigriffs, but it's not. Then we have Great Swords, Pistoliers, Outriders, Demigriff Knights, and you can have 0-3 War Machines of Great Cannon or Mortar. And then rare is just Flaggies, 0 to 1 War Machines of Hellblaster or Hellstorm Rocket per 1,000, and 1 Stank per 1,000. But you can never fit the second Stank in because it's 260 and you only got 500, or it's more than 250 at least.
It's 265, yeah. But I mean, at 2,400 or 2,500, you can.
Yeah.
There's that.
Yay! Because that happens.
Play at
a
a
lot.
different point cost, people. Be crazy. Live your
Danny,
best life.
any extra comments on the army list?
No, very vanilla. You can only take captains as battle standard bearers. That's the only thing I would add.
Yeah. Yeah. Moving on. We're going to be jumping from here to the armory. For those following along at home, just so we give you context as we go through. We have Weapons of the Empire. Danny, what's the first one?
Weapons of the Empire, the first one. Sorry, I'm getting to that page.
Page 77.
It's the grenade launching blunderbuss. Why would you lead home without this? It's range 24, strength 4, AP -2, cumbersome and ponderous. And then if you successfully hit, you do D3 plus 1 hits to the enemy unit instead of just 1. Yeah,
it's a fantastic weapon.
Yeah, it's good.
It's
great.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Petey baby, what's next?
The Hochland Long Rifle. Let me get in here. Gotta see. Get my spectacles on. The Hochland Long Rifle. It's a 36-inch range, strength 4, AP 1, armor bane 1, cumbersome, ponderous gun. But a model that's armed with the Hochland Long Rifle can target specific models within a target unit, such as champions or characters. This is potentially great if it weren't for the fact that Lookout Sir is a rule. And so only 1 in 6 times do you actually do the thing you wanted to do with this. But that 1 in 6, man, it feels real good when it goes off.
Yeah, I really feel like this should ignore or have a caveat that says you fail Lookout Sir on a 1, 2, 3 or something, or a 1 or a 2.
Yeah, what was the old sniper rule that they had in 8th edition? Didn't they have one that...
I thought it just ignored. I think it just ignored Lookout Sir.
Yeah, you don't get to do Lookout Sir.
That should just be part of this, or maybe like if a character could take this, like a witch hunter or something, which they can.
Yeah.
But like an engineer with a Hochland Long Rifle should have a sniper. I don't know. Like make it worth my while. Games Workshop.
Make it make sense. All right, and lastly, we have pigeon bombs. Instead of shooting an enemy during the shooting phase, a model equipped with the pigeon bomb may release 1. Choose an enemy that is within 24 of the model and roll on the pigeon bomb table. 1.
Absolutely the worst weapon in the game.
1. Confused by the tumult of battle, the pigeon returns to its handler, and you put the 3-inch small blast template over the model that released the pigeon bomb. Any model whose base lies underneath the template risks being hit and suffering a single strength 4 hit with an AP of 1.
So bad.
2 to 3 is fly away home. Perhaps wisely, the pigeon sets off towards distant horizons and the bomb has no effect. 4+ is a dud. The pigeon drops his package over the target, but the bomb fails to detonate. Instead, falling earthwards at tremendous speed, the target unit suffers a single strength 5 hit with an AP of 2, and then perfect delivery is placed a 3-inch blast template, so it central falls directly over the middle of the unit, and strength 4 AP 1 hits. So you're paying points for a weapon that works 1/6 of the time as intended.
Adam,
this is the shittest shit.
Adam, let's put some more perspective on this for people before we move on, because this is absolutely the most terrible thing in like all of the books. You can't convince me otherwise. Even the Hell Cannon is better than this. Because
It's been almost a year, but the Hell Cannon's finally off the podium for S tier bad units.
A pigeon bomb is 20 points.
Yeah.
Okay. It can be taken by an engineer. It's 20 points. You actually want it to be a 4 or a 5 because of the way templates work most of the time. You would prefer it to be a strength 5 AP2 hit than a small template, because like the average small template hits 2 guys at strength 4 AP1. So like it's, and then there's a 1 in 6 chance you kill yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? Why take something so fun, so flavorful, and be like, how can we make it garbage?
Well, let me tell you.
Go on, Danny.
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna give it the rules for the pigeon bomb. We're gonna limit this to only being able to be shot within 24 inches too. Don't forget that part.
Yeah.
I love that the pigeon is like smart enough to fly all the way home, arguably, possibly, several towns over or
Yeah.
miles or kilometers, but it's not smart enough to fly further than 24 inches away in the direction you want it to
What?
go.
You're
They
asking
just-
a lot
They
of this.
didn't train this pigeon at all.
Like,
They
who
put
wrote
zero
this?
training into this pigeon.
Who wrote this? Whoever
I
wrote
have
this,
no idea.
Technological innovation was this?
like,
I
I understand that
dumbfounding.
this wasn't a great item in previous editions, but like, you had the chance, and I get that. Like, they must have changed templates lately.
Yeah.
Like, that has to be part of the problem too, because there's so many things that are like, here's a small blast or a large blast template, and it's
Yeah.
a million points, and then they're like partial hits. It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
But like, my God, it's so bad. If templates worked like the way they used to, maybe
It's still bad. No, it's still bad.
maybe there's a
Yeah.
chance at 10 points I'd consider taking this.
For a 1 in 6 to do as intended, this can go straight in the bin.
It's so
Anyway,
bad. Anyway,
Let's go back to where we started. So back to page 48, Commanders of the Empire, 90 and 45 points respectively. Generals 90 of course. They're both movement 4, weapon skill by skill 5, both strength and toughness 4. The toughness 4 is the biggest thing you're paying for here. 3 and 2 wounds. Initiative 5, initiative 4, 3 and 2 attacks, 9 and 8 leadership respectively. Both have a hold the line and rallying cry for the general. This character can, and any unit they joined, automatically pass any panic tests they are required to make. And your Empire, you're probably going to be taking a few. But gents, how do we feel about commanders? I would tell you all the war gear stuff, but it's Empire. Just assume, like, the only thing spicy we can tell you that they can take is if they can take a lance or full plate. Apart from that, heavy armor is always an option. Great weapon, additional hand weapon, handguns, longbows, halberds, lances, pistols, brace pistols, shields. All those things are an option for every single character outside wizards. We'll tell them when they're relevant. And they can take the standard number of magic items that you associated with a general or a captain level character. Boys, starting with Danny. These guys any good?
It's pretty cheap for leadership 9. I would say that's probably the most redeeming factor of the general of the Empire. The captain is if you want to take a battle standard bearer. I think that is why you would take one. Otherwise, I don't rate these guys super high.
Yeah. The big thing for like the problem with Empire, and we're going to talk about this a lot, is like they don't have a cool monster. They have griffins, which are okay. So the thing that's great about the general, and Danny nailed it right away, is like he's 90 points for a leadership 9, and then it's only like 8 more points to get him to a 3+ armor save. It's easy to get him a barded warhorse. So for just over like 100 points, you've got a general with a 2+ save. That's quite defensible.
That's cool. Yeah.
And like a captain can do the same for 45 less points. So you can like make yourself pretty defensible to keep your general or captain alive. And it saves you a lot of points to spend on other stuff, which I think is kind of like the conception of what Empire should be capable of doing. Is here's a bunch of cheap buff characters that none of them are super scary, but together they make like a conglomeration of cool. It just doesn't quite work out that way.
I mean, I'm quite a fan of the Empire on the Griffin, Imperial Griffin or Standard Griffin, as you take, because I mean the Griffin is comparable to a Wyvern. It's around the same points, but of course the General isn't comparable to Warboss in any way, shape, or form, at least for damage output. But I do like just a lean, cheap General, usually just with a great weapon on a Griffin. Get into a 3+ or a 2+ armor save if you want. Give him a 5+ invuln, and he's just good to like go. He can't take on anything serious, but he's a big problem for so many of the middle and light units in the game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like him. All right, Wizards, Danny boy.
So Wizards, we've got 2 wizards. You got a Wizard Lord and a Master Mage. Wizard Lord is movement 4 across the board here. Wizard Lord is weapon skill 4 as well. He's also toughness 4 instead of toughness 3. 3 wounds instead of 2 wounds. Initiative 3, 2 attacks instead of 1 attack, and he's leadership 8 instead of leadership 7. for 130 points or 60 points. Got 160 points for level 2 wizard. What am I and for options, you can mount them. You can put a wizard on a griffin if you so desire, but you probably shouldn't. He has the magical attack and magic resistance 1 rule, both wizards do. And you can upgrade your wizard lord to a level 4 for 30 points or a level 2 for 30 points as well. They have a wide selection of magic choices. You can take battle magic, demonology, dark magic, elementalism, illusion, or necromancy, which is interesting.
Basically all of them but high magic and wog magic, right? From the main book.
Correct. That's the strength. That's like the actual only real strength here for these wizards over any other wizard is just the breadth of laws you can take from. So you can really tool them for the meta of your choice. The points is pretty much in the middle for wizards. I mean, way under is what you'd pay in Warriors of Chaos. A little bit more than you'd pay in, Orcs and Goblins for Goblin level 4s and stuff like that. So they're like just perfectly down the middle. I actually think they're quite good.
They're the best part of the book. They come with MR1, which is great, and people forget about it all the time. They have access to so many lores, and unlike many other armies, you can take unlimited of them basically if you want to, right? So like there's no cap on your wizard lords, so it's it shouldn't be too hard for you to consider taking 2 if not 3 of these guys in a list. And they have really good arcane items we'll talk about later that can back them up. It's just all around probably the best data sheet that you have access to as an empire.
Agreed. Take them on a peg. Chuck them on a peg. 9 times out of 10, chuck it on a peg is how I feel about wizards in general in the Empire. You can totally take them on a state though if you wanted to. All right, Masters of Knightly Order, Peter.
Yes. So these are the combat guys for the Empire.
But not really.
Well, I mean, like they are
comparatively.
They're the equivalent of like a regular orc war boss, not a black orc war boss. Their weapon skill 6, their ballistic skill 3, strength 4, tough 4, 3 wounds, initiative 6, attacks 4, leadership 9 on the Grand Master. Pretty steep at 145 points. And these guys, both the Grand Master and Chapter Master, because these are like the masters of the knightly orders, they have to be mounted. And they don't have any monstrous mount options. The Chapter Master is like the much cheaper version, coming in at 75 points. He's only weapon skill 5, but still strength toughness 4, 2 wounds, initiative 5, 3 attacks, leadership 8. They can take, extra hand weapons, great weapons, lances, shields. They can take full plate. They can ride barded warhorses, pegasi, or demigriffs. They come with countercharge, which is amazing as always. First charge, immune to psychology, master of battle, which is a rule that if they are in a unit of Empire Knights, Inner Circle Knights, or demigriffs, that unit gains immune to psychology from them, which can be great. They have rallying cry. They're stubborn by default. They have swift stride and veteran. So it's like a big package for these dudes. Unfortunately, because they do hit slightly worse than many of the other combat characters and such from other armies, you don't see a lot of them see play. You can occasionally see people running like a Grandmaster with Ogre Blade and Talisman or something on a Demigriff, because that guy can chunk something down. But at least in their current iteration, it's not like mandatory, and that dude comes in at like 270, 280 points.
Yeah, I don't mind them. I've always considered taking like 2 or 3 chapter masters on pegs and just playing like Flying Circus. We wish we were Bretonians, because I actually think it could be quite nice because it's so easy to give them a 2 up, which is pretty hot. But yeah, that's it. Masters of Knightly Orders. You're paying such a premium though for that damage output. Like it's a 145 for the Grand Master versus 90 for the General. And you're getting 1 weapon skill and 1 attack essentially.
Yeah,
and that's what kind of sucks for me. If this guy should be like 20 or 30 points less.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're paying a lot of points too. Like 3 wounds is a big deal, right? But and you're also paying for the ability to take 100 points of magic items.
Yeah. I mean, but sorry, I'm comparing him to the General. So the General's at 90.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, you're
the General's 90. Right. Grandmaster's 145. 55 more points for 1 weapon skill, 1 attack. Is it 1 initiative? Well, Yeah, and 1 a niche. It's a lot. It's a lot. All right, Witch Hunters. They come in at 55. They've got 4s across the board, all the way up until you get to the wounds. So that's 4s for movement, web skill, strength, toughness. 2 wounds, initiative 5, 2 attacks, leadership 8. They come with some cool special rules: immune psychology, killing blow, and suffer not. So each Witch Hunter in your army must have one of the following specialisms chosen when writing your army list. This specialism indicates which of the many enemies of humanity the Witch Hunter is trying to target, and you must tell your opponent which one. So first one is you get Hatred, Enemy Wizards, and Magic Res 2. The next one is the unit you joined gets Hatred, Undead, and Flaming attacks. And then we have Hatred, Warriors of Chaos, and Beasts of Chaos, and Magic Res 1. And then lastly, we gain Hatred, Demonic Models, and Magic attacks abilities. I so wish you could choose when you got to the table and saw your opponent. That would make Witch Hunters good. And as good as Warrior Priest used to be. You know how Warrior Priest, you would just windmill slam into any unit you wanted to try and do something with. That will let Witch Hunters operate in pretty much the same way. They do have a decent selection of the items you would expect. In addition, they can get crossbows and handguns, brace of pistols, and maybe mounted, and 50 points of magic items. Peter, you've been a bit of a proponent of the Witch Hunters, and we had a hilarious moment in a recent game, which we'll tell you about in part 2. But yeah, how do you feel about these guys?
Oh, I actually am not a proponent. I after playing them a few times.
Well, you have played them.
Oh, I have.
At least
yeah,
once.
For sure.
I have never played one because I think they're trash.
Oh, and, the reason why I wanted to give them a go is because of the Magic Resist 2. Magic Resist 2 is really strong, and there's not a whole lot of ways to get access to it for cheap.
How much is a lodestone?
A lodestone is 20 points. So
so
2
40
to get
points.
you to MR2 is 40 points.
So you're paying 15 points for the body, which is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, and then if you look at like Chaos has like the Brazen Collar, which is 20 points. So even then, though, 35 points for like that little package isn't bad. Killing Blow on 2 attacks, 3 attacks if you give them additional hand weapon, not terrible. There is some argument some people are making that Killing Blow works in shooting because it's on their profile rather than on the weapon.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, it's a valid argument. If you read the rule for Killing Blow in the core rule book, it does indicate that it's in combat, which would say that it's close combat. But we have a legacy army in Ogres that has a ranged weapon that has Killing Blow on it. So, I mean, maybe
it's Empire. Let him have it.
Oh man, now I'm reading. Now I got to read this. I was like, you're full of shit, Peter. There's no way that's limited to combat only.
No, it says Killing Blow in the core rule book says hits like made in combat or something.
Made in combat. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So in theory, it should not work on ranged attacks, but then someone in Games Workshop decided to give the man trap or the chain trap Killing Blow, even though it's a ranged only thing. So who knows what they actually wanted you to be capable of doing? If it is working on ranged, these guys become a lot better. But regardless, they're cute. And they just suffer the same thing most Empire stuff suffers from. And I thought about this a lot after I've run them a few times, is like Adam said, if the Suffer Not ability, the Witch, Revenant, etc., was like a at the table you got to pick thing, they would be incredible. I'd probably take them if they were 10 or 15 more points, just for that extra bit of help.
Me too. It would really let some of the Inner Circle Knights would be so much better because they already got real ones to wound, and just giving him Hatred plus that, or a multitude of different things. Great swords, great swords with Hatred and MR2 would feel fantastic at times.
I really miss these guys being on flying carpets, shooting people with pistols, like with precision. I have to say, like as a flashback, I miss these guys. I don't see them anymore, and that's sad.
All right, Peter. Danny, you're up next.
All right, so next we have Warrior Priest of Sigmar. For Sigmar, we have the Lector of Sigmar. Movement 4, weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 3, strength and toughness 4, 3 wounds, 5 initiative, 3 attacks, leadership 8 for 110. And then a Priest of Sigmar is the downgrade you would expect. Weapon skill 4 instead of 5, 2 wounds instead of 3, 2 attacks instead of 3, and leadership 7 for 60 points. As a package, you get hand weapon and light armor automatically. They can take additional hand weapons and great weapons. They can also take shields and heavy armor. They can also be mounted on a barded warhorse or regular warhorse. And then they can take 50 or 100 points of magic items for the priest or lector, respectively. Also the Archlector I think can be mounted on the War Altar, and since there's only
Yep.
one War Altar of Sigmar, you can only take one. Their special rules are magic attacks, MR1, and Prayers of Sigmar. Now, Prayers of Sigmar being their special rule, you make a leadership test on your own leadership during the command subphase, and you can choose between which prayer you're going to do, then take the leadership test. You have 3 different prayers you can take. Hammer of Sigmar lets you reroll to hit and wound. For the model, his mount and a single friendly unit within command range can reroll hit and wounds of rolls of 1. Shield of Faith gives this model and a single friendly model in its command range 5+ ward save. And then Soulfire, which does a single enemy unit in base to base, or engaged in combat, I guess, is D6, strength 3 hits, AP -2 with flaming and magic attacks.
And Shield of Faith only works against ranged attacks now. It used to be
Oh yeah, that's
previous
correct.
edition everything, but now
Yeah.
just shooting.
Yep. How do we feel about this, and how do we feel about this mechanic? Because obviously you're purchasing these guys for the prayers.
They're fine. I prefer Ulrich priests over Sigmar priests.
Me too.
Because I have the choice because I like their prayers better. But I think the Altar of Sigmar is like an interesting choice if you don't want to take magic. But I think that that's a mistake because that's one of the strengths of this army is unlimited level 4s.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a summation of my thoughts there.
So my thing with this is always when I look at stuff like prayers is that they are uncounterable magic abilities. So they're uncounterable magic.
That's true.
Is a great way of looking at it. Your opponent doesn't get a say; they just do what it does. I have massive issues in paying 100 points, then probably great weaponing, heavy armoring, and then magic iteming a model with a leadership 8. There's no freaking reason I'm paying Lord level points for leadership 8. This guy, when his whole mechanic is just passing leadership tests to get any value. Otherwise, he's just a crappy captain. Peter, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like the chance of rolling a leadership 8 roll is like 60%, 58 or something like that. That's pretty garbo. And then if you're taking like the lesser variety, it's even less. It's roughly 50%. So like these they're not the best odds, and they don't bring enough else to the table for me to want. Like if the prayers were what they used to be in previous editions, where it was like full on hatred everything and a 5+ ward save all the time. Soulfire did more damage. If they hadn't toned them down for some odd reason, or if you had some way to give them like veterans or consistent leadership rerolls.
So and I'm busting the lead here a little bit, but there should have been a relic, a magic item for Sigmar priests and for Ulrich priests that gave them. Let's say you pay decent amount of points for it. We're talking like 25, 35 points between there somewhere. That gives you +1 leadership and a little something extra when you get a prayer off. That should be in existence, because right now I've tried these guys. I've tried both Priests of Sigmar. I've tried the War Altar. And I've found the priests just wholly disappointing, because you get to because theoretically you're going to need these prayers 2 to 3 times a game at most. And the likelihood is on these rolls on leadership 8s, you fail 1 out of those. And if it's the one you just couldn't afford to fail, well, G, you shouldn't have brought him. And any other character would have been better. Hell, take a level 2 on a peg. Take a level 2 on a peg for how many points? 60. Then we go to 90. Yeah, same points. 90. Put him on a peg. Same as the 110 for the Lector. Keep him out of dispel range. Do more for you. Peter, baby.
Hard to argue with the math, Adam.
Peter, baby. Warrior Priest of Ulrich are exactly the same points as stat lines. Just tell us the prayers, mate.
They're the same? Yes, they're the same. So, Warrior Priests of Ulrich, these are the Beastie Boys, the werewolf, werebear lovers, the furries of the Empire. So really the only difference, they are MR1, just like Sigmar, like Danny, like Adam.
When I said they were the same.
But they have 3 different prayers. So during the command phase, same thing. Leadership test. You can get Adam. You can take. You can give them the Battle Howl, which makes your charge rolls apply a plus D3 modifier to the result. This can only affect infantry and cavalry units in your command range. Winter's Chill, which lets the priest and any unit it's joined reroll any to hit rolls of enemy opponents that are targeting the priest in the unit. Reroll natural hit rolls of 6, and Wrath of Winter until your next start of turn. This model, its mount, and any unit is joined gains multiple wounds 2. And so like 2 of these prayers are amazing. One of them is okay. Like multiple wounds 2 is very, very good, especially on if you have other ways to buff a particular unit that you're joined. These suffer the same thing Sigmar does, where it's like a 50-50 shot, 60-40 shot if you pay the extra 50 points to even get the prayer off. But it is worthwhile if you do. So if I had to pick which one of these I would take if you put a gun to my head, it would be the Priest of Ulrich, just for that reason.
Agreed. I mean, none of the Sigmar prayers compare to damage 2. None of them even come close.
Yeah.
The 5-up would need to be shooting and flight phase, and then you'd have a really good defensive buff on one side and a really good offensive buff on the other side, and then it'd almost be, which one do you value? But I've tried the High Priest of Ulrich a couple of times now. Either and most of the time I'm attaching to a unit of between 5 and 8 Inner Circle Knights, and once out of the 2 games I played him with, he was amazing. He was absolutely stupendous. The other game, he didn't get it off on the turn, needed to get it off, and I felt really stupid for taking him. But yeah, I just wish you could make it more consistent. I just wish. Anyway, on to Engineers, 45 points. Movement 4, as if it's not mounted, it's movement 4 in this book. Weapon skill 3, bliss skill 4, strength 3, T3, 2 wounds, initiative 3, 1 attack, leadership 7. Comes with just a hand weapon. It doesn't even have light armor, lol. Can take the grenade launching blunderbuss for 10, Falcon long rifle for 10, repeater handgun or repeater pistol for 8. Can take pigeon bombs for 20, and if anyone takes pigeon bombs versus you do indeed have to buy them a drink. It's the rules. I didn't make them up. Can get light armor for 3 points and magic items of up to 50. Clouds of Soot and Smoke and Master of Ballistics are its 2 rules, and they're both pretty good. This model is considered to be behind full cover whilst within 3 of a friendly war machine. And then, unless this model is fleeing or engaged in combat, once per turn, a friendly Empire war machine that is within command range can either use ballistic skill or reroll a single artillery dice. I have found Engineers to be pretty much always worth it, because in every list bar one that I've ever run, I've taken cannons and hellblasters pretty much. Danny, anything to add on the NG?
No, I think that's very good summation.
Yeah.
Peter, do you ever give this guy anything, or are you just taking him 45 points and keeping him lean? I sometimes take him with the Hockland or the blunderbuss.
Yeah, I think like taking the blunderbuss with the Hockland is, if you have 10 points, feel free. It's not going to kill you. Otherwise, I just run him as a 45-point tax on your Hellblaster to make sure that it's as reliable as it can.
Yep, nice. Danny, you get the great task of doing all the mounts.
Oh boy. Okay. So, brief summary: generals, captains, wizard lords, not grandmasters. That's it. Those guys can take Empire war horses for 12 points a model. Now, generals, captains, grandmasters, chapter masters, lectors, priests, or high priests or priests of Ulrich can all take barded war horses for 16 points. You can also take Pegasus for 30 points on your general or captain or wizard lord, or witch hunter,
or grandmaster or chapter master. They all love Pegasus.
Wow, they can all take. They can all
just
take
the priests. Just the priests can't take pegs.
Yeah, because they're just not cool enough.
No,
it's the leadership 8 reroll. Yeah, the leadership 8 problem. Yeah. And then you can take a demigryph for 50 points on your generals, captains, or grandmasters, chapter masters. And then specifically, the general and captain can take a griffin. The general can take an imperial griffin, which is just the really big one. And then the wizard lord can take the imperial griffin as well. And then finally, the archlector can take the big boy war altar of Sigmar. So just a brief overview here. Pegasus is movement 8. Oh, so the war horses. We'll talk about them first, I suppose. just what you would expect with a horse. It's every other horse that you had. A barded warhorse has barding, shockingly enough. They get countercharge and first charge, whereas the Empire warhorse has fast cavalry and swift stride. Pegasus is a monstrous cavalry on a 40/60. Movement 8, weapon skill 3, strength 4, +1 wound, initiative 4, 2 attacks, and they have got fly 10, first charge, countercharge, and swift stride. Great rules. Demigryphs, movement 7, weapon skill 4, strength 5, +1 wound, initiative 4, 3 attacks for 50 points, and they have countercharge, first charge, fear, and swift stride. And they come with barding standard, which is nice, and their wicked claws are AP -2.
Damn, that's a good profile on that Demigryph.
It's so good. Yeah.
50 points is a lot, though.
It is.
I think it's perfectly acceptable for what
It's
this
pretty
fucking
reasonable for what you
It
get.
is. It is. My only thing is that it's just so much better than any of the actual units.
is. Yeah, it is.
Like, if I could just take a unit of Demigryphs for 50 points per model, no mount, no rider, I don't care. Just give me cheap demis. Oh, chef's kiss. Just a unit of Demigryphs, no riders. Don't need them.
Yeah. Gotta love those cheap demis.
Yeah, Pegasus, peg for 30 points, fantastic. Put it just everything. Pegasus. Falcon, you get to go with the state troops.
The Empire State Troops. So the bread and butter of the Empire. They come in two varieties: state troops and veteran state troops. State troops are movement 4, as everything is. Weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 3, strength 3, tough 3, 3 initiative. If you want to pay 2 extra points per model, you can get veterans, which are weapon skill 4. Everything else is exactly the same. That weapon skill 4 does make a big difference, though. Often is worth the extra 2 points. Any unit can take halberds for 1 more point or thrusting spears for 1 more point per model. The unit can also take spears for 1 more point per model. You get your potential command at 5 points per option. Veteran state troops can also be upgraded for 1 point per model to have drilled and can take a magic standard. And a veteran state troop sergeant can take 25 points of magic items. State troops themselves come with close order, detachment, regimental unit. Veteran state troops have all those 3 things, but they also have the veteran special rule. So there's a lot of people have tried to make state troops a thing or veteran state troops a thing by taking a whole lot of them and giving them a bunch of magic banners to get their combat res up to 7 or 8. The only problem with doing so is that they're bad. And
how did you learn that, mate? Was the potentially 3 games versus me doing that thing? And
I mean, yeah, and they're just like easily walked around and ignored often. Unfortunately, the regiment and detachment bonuses don't often help you. It's a huge investment.
Yeah.
Maybe if there was a way to make them unbreakable and still have like wizard protections or even like better stubborn, or I don't know. Right now, don't do it.
If you are going to do it, the 2 points to go from state trooper to veteran state trooper is almost always worth it. Like 2 points for +1 weapon skill and veteran. Usually everyone plays 1 point per model for veteran on their units. And so it's just 1 point for weapon skill, which is just worth. It's just always worth.
Yeah.
Do it every time. State missile troops is exactly the same stat line. They come at the 7 points with 5 points for a sergeant as well. They come with hand weapon and crossbows. You can exchange the crossbows for handguns for 1 point per model. They can all take light armor for 1 point per model. Don't do that. 5 point unit upgrades. Sergeant can take a brace of pistols, Hockland long rifle, and repeater handgun. 1 unit per 1,000 can take drilled for 1 point per model, and they take a magic standard of 25 points. Closed order, detachment, and regimental units. Not much to say here. I always kind of take some missile troops. I don't mind them. But you're better off if you're going to do something with them to go with one of the following ones, which is the Empire Archers. Anything to add on the missile troops, boys?
Nope.
Beautiful. Danny boy, the glorious Free Company Militia.
Yep, the chaff that you wish wasn't impetuous. So movement 4, weapon skill 3, weapon skill ballistic skill 3, strength and toughness 3, 1 wound, initiative 3, 1 attack, leadership 6. The champion has 2 attacks and leadership 7. There's 6 points model. Champion costs 7 points. They have cool special rules, sort of, except for one. They have detachment, they have horde, they have impetuous, they have levies, they have open order and warband. So love warband, love horde, love detachment, hate impetuous.
But hear me out.
No.
Hear me out.
Oh yeah, and they have two-hand weapons and throwing weapons.
That's
And
it.
throwing weapons.
They have
Yeah.
throwing weapons, Danny.
Yeah, throwing
So
weapons.
These little
These, dude.
they can march and shoot. They have multiple shots too. They're only 6 points. You can protect yourself from the impetuous by just like putting an Empire Archer on each corner of your unit and take like 100 of these dudes and go to town. Just like your opponent comes at you, just be like, too bad, buddy. Here's 100 throwing knives in your face. Deal with it.
By the power of math.
And
By the power of math, something will happen here.
I think that's just great. If it wasn't for the fact that like there's no real way to buff this unit to do anything other than throw 100 like spoons or rocks at your opponent, man, I love it.
Yeah, they're like one thing away from
put a demonology wizard in them, give them AP, give them an extra attack, so now they're 3 attacks apiece doing nothing. Oh, I love it.
They can do so much more nothing, mate. Yeah, fantastic. Peter, Empire Archers.
My little babies, 7 points a model, 3s across the board except for movement. They've got war bows. Boo, 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 boo. They are just cheap little skirmishers. They have Vanguard by default. They have move through cover, which is incredible. They're open order. They're skirmishers if you want them to be. You can pay 1 point per model to make them scouts, and 1 point per model for fire and flee for up to well, actually all of them could just have that. These are great points filler if you're just like trying to hit your core and you're short. But they're just like great period because they're really good at like blocking lanes, picking off like that one dude that ran away from your Hellblaster that went off for once. Yeah, I love having like 1 or 2 like 5-mans.
Yeah.
Even if it's just to like block out a forest so that the Green Knight can't come at me. And I can just be like, suck it. Look at these little dudes keeping you from living your dreams.
I've never left home without at least 1 unit of Empire Archers.
They're great.
Yeah, they're fantastic. Go for it. Great Swords, the little unit we all wish was good. They are 11 points per model. Movement 4, weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 3, strength and toughness 3, 1 wound, initiative 3, 1 attack, 8. Plus 8 points for the Count's Champion, which is the Sergeant, which gets you an extra attack, not an extra leadership though, but an extra weapon skill, which is nice. Weapon skill 5 for those little challenges. 6 point unit upgrades for the rest. A Count's Champion can have up to 50 points of magic items, not that you would or should. And then 1 per 1,000 points can have drilled, 2 points per model, veteran for 1 point per model, and 50 points on a magic standard. They have closed order, regimental unit, and stubborn. I kind of feel like they should have another special rule or two to make them, I don't know, more interesting. Because essentially, it's a veteran state troop with a heavy armor, full plate, and a great weapon. Outside of that, and stubborn. That's really all they get. They don't even have veteran as standard. But I want Great Swords to be so good, and I want to play with them. And then every time I try and conceptualize a list with them in it, I hit the delete button. They just kind of never been worth it for me. What are you going to add, boys? Falcon, you go first.
Nothing. They're shitty.
Yep. I'd really like these guys to have the rule if you're generals, and then they can all challenge.
Yes,
that would be great.
Yes,
that would be a cool change for this rule.
Yeah, or unbreakable, or +1 to weapon skill, or something, or I mean, I tried real hard. I've tried real hard. Like every other week, I will try and make a Great Swords army, and not once have I ever actually fielded Great Swords in the 12-ish games I've had with Empire.
They're just not a good unit.
They're not good, man, and it pains me because they're the best freaking models.
They're so cool.
So good. Yeah. So good. Everything. The beards, the hats. It's just the best. All right, Danny boy.
So after Great Swords, we have another unit that is much maligned. We have Flagellants. So Flagellants are Movement 4, as you would expect. Weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 2, strength and toughness 3, 1 wound, initiative 3, 1 attack, leadership 5. The Prophet of Doom, their champion, has an extra attack and costs plus 7 points. These guys cost 13 points a model. You have to take them in units of 5 or more. They come with flails standard, though. That's nice.
Mhm.
So always AP -2. You love to see that. And you can take a standard bearer as well for 7 points if you want to make them cost more points. They have sorry.
Sorry.
Their special rules are close order, fanatical zeal, feel no pain, furious charge, great roll, immune to psychology, impetuous, hatred, and unbreakable. So fanatical zeal is you can only they can only be joined by lectors of Sigmar or priests of Sigmar. And when they join them, the priest is considered to have unbreakable, which is nice. Feel no pain is their other special rule. A model with a special rule has a 6+ ward against any wounds that were suffered caused by non-magical attack. And they have a 5+ ward against any wounds suffered that were caused by non-magical attack with strength 5 or greater. So it's kind of like the blessing that they have, blessing of Sigmar, if you will. Yeah, man, these guys, they're not frenzied anymore, so that's kind of interesting. They are impetuous, so they may have to charge like 50-50 shot. But they don't get multiple attacks, which I think is probably they get furious charge, so they get 2 attacks on the charge, which is that's still probably an issue though. I like hatred all enemies. Hatred is great.
Hatred all enemies is amazing. Movement 4, no swift stride, no way to get them a little more speedy.
Yeah.
I've got I can't tell you why these guys cost more than greatswords. I don't like for 2 points more per model, 11 versus 13. Greatswords are bad. And then flagellantes, 2 points more and also bad, but they're the kind of bad that I kind of like, as in like, so they're the kind of bad that needs to be respected, if that makes sense. My issue is,
Adam.
Sorry?
It made sense to me, Adam.
Oh,
I
yeah.
understood it. I got it.
I'm doing so much sense making right now. Leadership 5, but unbreakable, so whatever. I mean, just like they've got so many good special rules, so many. Why would you ever put pay points to put a lector or priest in there? I do not know. Mind you, if I could do Ulrich and give these guys damage 2, maybe there's something there. Because even at their strength of 3, when they do get charged at AP 2, damage 2, that's something to be feared. Especially with hatred. But yeah, they're almost there, man. They're almost there. If they're a little bit cheaper, I would run 5-man speed bumps. I would love to run 2 or 3 units of 5 and just be threatening on the counter charge. Just hitting a flank with a unit of 5 flagellants for 10 attacks would be enough to like check some opponents.
Yeah.
But yeah, at 13 points per model for 5 guys with essentially no save. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend they have a save. They really don't. That's 6 up. Oh boy, there's someone made you roll 5 dice. Maybe you saved 1. You got 1 guy left. Oh, watch out!
It's 1 ruby ring and they're gone, right? So
exactly right.
Yeah.
And what's 13 times 5? 65 points. Yeah, 65 points for 1-shot ruby ring. Do that twice, and you like paid off your level 2 or whatever. Yeah, it feels bad.
Mortgage.
Oh boy. Peter, you're up next. Pistoliers.
Pistoliers. I want to love them. They're flavorful at least. Movement 8, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 3. You can take a veteran to be ballistic skill 4. 3s across the board. Leadership 6, 7 on their veteran. They're on Empire war horses, so they're super fast. Unit size 5+. They come with hand weapons, brace of pistols, and heavy armor. You can give them a veteran and a musician. The veteran can drop his brace of pistols for a blunderbuss, a repeater handgun, or a repeater pistol. 1 unit per 1,000 points, can pay 2 points per model for Vanguard. They have countercharge. They have fast cavalry, fire and flee, impetuous, open order, skirmishers, and swift stride. If they didn't have impetuous, and I understand why they have impetuous, is because it's like part of their lore that they're idiots. These guys would be
they're young idiots, yeah,
quite good. Maybe not amazing, but they would be good. And because they have impetuous, they are the opposite of that.
Yes. Yeah, any fast cav that has impetuous, that's like the purpose of it is to go up close, shoot their guns, and then redirect in a niche position. Like, it's just killed by Impetuous. The unit is just killed by it. And I just love that these guys are like, they just got like two little pistols, and then they look at the Chaos Chosen Knights and are like, let's go fuck them up on a 4+. And it's just like,
Get them, boys.
They have no ability to fight out of a wet paper bag. And then half the time, they're just going to yeet themselves into the dragon. It's just so good. I just want to believe in them so much. But yeah, Impetuous absolutely killed. Unlike the next one, which is Outriders. So 3 points per model more than what you get for a Pistolier. You get an additional ballistic skill. And then for 6 points per model, you get the Sharpshooter, which has another ballistic skill. So ballistic skill 5. Their leadership 7 across from that. They're exactly what you'd expect. They come with hand weapon, pistols, repeater handgun, and heavy armor. So yeah, they come on Empire Warhorses. They're the same stuff. You get a 6 point musician in addition to the Sharpshooter I just told you about. They can have the Sharpshooter replace their repeater handgun with brace pistols, grenade launching blunderbuss, which I usually do, and a repeater pistol. They're fast cav, firing fleet, open order, skirmishers, swift stride, and vanguard. And these guys are good. I usually I pretty much always take 5. Sometimes I do take 10, 2x5s. And yeah, Falcon's been on the other end of these guys a few times. How do you feel about them?
Oh, they're great. The fact that they're almost always either hitting on 6s or even 7s at times is a real bummer, because you're always taking the -1 for multiple shots. Generally, you're taking a -2 for moving because the repeater pistols are ponderous, and so you're already up to 6. If they weren't ponderous, I think this unit would be stellar. It would be like on par with similar good units in other books. The ponderous really does them in, because then as soon as you shoot at like some random wood elf in a forest, you're now at like 8s or 9s with your guns, which is absolutely foolishness to me. But like the times you're hitting on 5s is beautiful. Like when you get down to hitting on 5s or 4s, if somehow your opponent like moved into a stupid position and you get to just unleash, love it. Like 3 shots per guy is amazing. Vanguard base is cool. I love these dudes.
My pretty much the way I've learned how to use them is to just never try and shoot them turn 1. Never try and use them for damage turn 1. Turn 1, you Vanguard up into a safe position, and then you just get as close as you can whilst being out of charge arcs, and then just stay there every turn. Stay at within half range, and if you're hitting on 6s, doesn't matter. You're still throwing a bucket of dice every time, but at least you're going to hit some things. And harassment-wise, they're actually really good at that. Like the repeater handgun is a very good profile, as long as you can manage the downsides, and you have to get good at managing the downsides. I mean, I've gone games where I haven't shot them till turn 3, because turn 1 I've vanguarded, marched, and then marched again, and then just started shooting at point blank, like from behind people's lines and stuff. And then they feel really good. But yeah, you got to be willing. And so we have 2 fast cav here, boys. One 16 points, one 19 points. And they both have extreme downsides. Of course, Impetuous just means that you never get to unit. Half the time, you don't get to use the unit as you want to, which is bad. And then Outriders, you have this amazing ballistic skill 4 as standard, and it's one of the best guns in the game, but it takes so many penalties. And it's just so funny they're on the same freaking page. And they both could be extremely good with like 1 change. I've never taken Pistoliers. Do you guys see any reason to take Pistoliers over Outriders if you want to go fast cav?
Never.
Not even close.
Me either. It sucks. All right, Empire Knights. They come at 21 points standard. They come with weapon skill 4, 3s from all the way from blizzard skill through to toughness, 1 wound, initiative 3, 1 attack, leadership 8 base, preceptors 6 more points for the Sarge. They're on the barded warhorse, so movement 7, horse plus barding. They come with hand weapons and heavy armor. I'm always annoyed, and shields. I'm always annoyed that I have to pay for 1 point per model for great weapons or lances. It's something I always forget to do in my apps. And then they can replace their shields with great weapons for free if you choose not to take the shield. And yeah, 6 point unit upgrades. Magic stands up to 25 points and 25 points on the Preceptor Sergeant. 1 per 1,000 can take drilled for 1 point per model and stubborn for 2 points per model. Closed order, counter charge, first charge, and swift stride. Now, if these guys weren't core, they'd be totally completely priced out by the fact that Inner Circle Knights and Demigriffs exist, But the fact that they are core means that these guys get taken, and I always take them. Units of 5 of these guys are very good for just over 100 points, 105 points. For 5 of these guys, I usually chuck a preceptor in there as well and just keep them lean and use them for challenge bait at times. And they're very good harassments with good armor saves. Anything to add, lads?
Hear me out. Units of 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think that's the way to go.
Oh, sorry,
like,
did I say units of 5? Because yes, I do
Yeah.
take units of 4.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, then
Yeah.
yeah, we don't have to talk about anything. It's great for a couple of reasons. It's good for points because you give up no points on this unit until you lose the last model that they're running at
Yep.
the end of the game.
And you don't take a panic from the first guy dead. They
Yep.
got to kill 2 before you panic.
Exactly.
I like them like that. I also like them even slightly bigger. They take buffs decently well. They countercharge if on a 21-point model, 22-point model, because you want to give them a good weapon, is amazing. So taking like 8 or 12 of these guys, like if you need to fill out core and you're wondering what to do with your life, just take the Empire Knights. Yes, they're strength 3. That sucks. But, throw a demonology wizard in these guys or something like that. And they'll churn out just that little bit more. And I do like Empire Knights, and I'm very hopeful for an Arcane Journal that has a Knightly Orders army that might make them better.
I also would like to say it's a very cheap source of fights first. If you're playing against nonsense, big old bricks of dumb stuff that we've seen every now and then, very cheap, things of fights first, where you can just have a bit of disruption if you need it. Danny Boy, Inner Circle.
So Inner Circle Knights are just like regular Knights, except they're strength 4, and they cost 29 points a model. The other benefit that they get is they get full plate mail like standard. So they're a 2-up save. They have the exact same upgrade. 7 points for command. That's 1 point for Great Opener Lances. Or you can do a free replace great shields with great weapons. Don't do that. And then they can take Stubborn for 2 points a model. And they can take a 50-point banner, and the preceptor can take 50 points. They have close order, countercharge, drilled, first charge, inner circle, swift stride, and veteran. Inner circle means that they get to reroll any natural hit rolls of 1 in close combat. These guys are great. They're special. It's a good place if you want to hammer in this list. If you want to hammer and you don't want to take demigryphs, this is a great unit to take.
Yeah. If you are one of the few, the proud people that hate demigryphs, then yes, Inner Circle Knights are the way to go.
All I'll say is that in a couple of lists, my second unit of demigryphs has been downgraded for points to Inner Circle Knights to fit in stuff like a next cannon or a second Hellblaster. Dang. And that's the only times I've done that.
Dang, dog.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Oh boy, is wiggity whack over here. And sometimes I'll downgrade a unit of 4 demis to be a unit of like 6 Inner Circle Knights or 5, wherever it comes out to be. And just to squeeze points in to get like another piece at times. But Inner Circle Knights I've found to be perfectly serviceable, like totally fine. Once again, you can take units of 4, so you can keep them quite lean if you'd like. But most of the time, I take 6. Sometimes I've even taken unit buses of 8 of them and not being super disappointed.
What?
Oh.
Yeah.
I was getting excited there for a moment, Adam, and then you said the second part of that sentence.
Dude, I tried 8 with the High Priest of Ulrich. Because I tried that a couple of times. And like I said, one game it felt pretty good, and one game it felt terrible. It was into Peter, and I charged that unit into 4 flies and didn't do a wound.
And then the rat flies killed
5 Inner Circle. And I broke and ran and got run down. And let's never speak about that again. Peter, you got the demis, mate.
Demigryph Knights. Like one of the scourges of when we didn't know how, like what the game was actually like. Demigryphs are 58 points per model. They are not cheap. But the knight on top is weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 3, strength 4. He's toughness 4 because he's got a half griffin underneath him. He's got 3 wounds. He's got 4 initiative. He's got 1 attack, leadership 8. The demigryph, though, is movement 7. So he's riding a movement 7. Also weapon skill 4, strength 5. He's got 3 attacks. He's initiative 4. That little demigryph, he's rowdy. And then you could take a preceptor. He gets an extra attack because that's just what they do for 7 points. They come base with heavy armor and shields. The Demigryph has Wicked Claws and Barding, so if you're not paying for any upgrades, you're already at a 3-up armor save. Luckily for you, you can upgrade to take full plate if you want, and you're just gonna. You can take either halberds or lances for free, your choice. You can have full command, so Preceptor, Standard Bearer, Musician, 7 points a pop. You can pay up to 50 points for a Magic Standard, and the Preceptor, the champion, can take 50 points in magic items. Their special rules are Close Order, Countercharge, First Charge, Fear, and Swift Stride. Those Wicked Claws in the Demigryph are AP2. This is a great unit. The only problem with this unit is there aren't very many other good units in the book. So when you're running Demigryphs, it's pretty easy for your opponent to say, that's the thing that needs to die so that I can have a good game. And then they just kill him.
Yep. Every game that I've played with Demigryphs, my opponent is just like, okay, so if I nuke the Demis, I can just disrespect the rest of your army. And the answer for me is like, yeah, pretty much, mate. You go for it. You go for it. What I was getting at with the Demis before at 50 points is that the Inner Circle Knight priced on top of the Demigryph is priced at 8 points because a Demigryph purchased as just amount for a character is 50. So it's only 8 points for the idiot on top, which I find hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. I'm not complaining. Don't put them up, G-Dub. But yeah, these guys are a banger. But you're buying a Demigryph because the Demigryph stat line is the best thing in the book. And I'm not talking about the Demigryph Knights. Just the Demigryph is the best stat line in the book.
Yeah.
By far. So, they could be 68, unfortunately, or 78, and you'd still probably have to take them in Empire, which sucks.
In Empire. Like, if you compare these to probably the closest comparison is like Dragon Ogres for Warriors of Chaos.
Yeah.
Dragon Ogres have 1 more wound. They're higher strength if you give them great weapons. 1 less attack per guy. 1 less armor save, though. So they're at a 3+ armor save instead of this 2+ that you're getting on the Demigryph. So they're pretty favorable, and you're paying like an extra 6 or 7 points, sometimes 10 for the champ, for the Dragon Ogre, right? So relatively comparable stat line.
Yeah, I think they're totally fine and probably perfectly where they are. I mean, it's 64 points for a Mornfang, but the Mornfang has, 1 worse armor save if you do choose to take the Iron Fist, but they have 1 more wound, and they are 1 more inch faster as well. So it all pretty much goes out.
A big thing for Demigryphs over Dragon Ogres, Demigryphs have Swift Stride.
Have Swift Stride, yeah, boy.
True.
All right. My turn, War Altar of Sigmar. So must be taken as a mount. You can't just take this as is, and it comes in 135 points for the privilege. And you must take it, it's going to be 110 for the priest that goes on this. So you're looking at 245 just for the option. It is strength and toughness 5 with 5 wounds and has 2 war horses on it. Has an armor save of 4+. It's a heavy chariot. It has closed order, first charge, holy fever, a D6 +1 impact hits, which will be at AP2. Large target, magic resist 2+, stubborn, symbol of might, terror, and witchbane. Holy fever is, unless this model is fleeing, friendly units within 6 of it automatically pass any fear tests they're required to make and can re-roll panic tests. So acts as a bit of a fervor.
Yeah, holy fervor, not holy fever. Sorry, this is bothering me.
I like the holy fever better. A symbol of might.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to veto you, Falcon. It's definitely fever. I've got a fever. And the only
fear.
More Sigmar.
The command range of the Elector of Sigmar mounted on the warhorse is increased. War Altar is increased from 8 to 12. So it means if it is your general, it's got an 18-inch command range, which is quite nice. And then Witchbane, all wizards within the model's command range, which would be 12 or 18 inches, suffer a -2 modifier to their casting rolls. And then, of course, like I said, it can only be included as a character mount. I'm a little. It's shit. It's shit. What am I doing? It's not shit because it's shit. 135 points is perfectly adequate for what you're getting out of this. It does have a lot of good utility and buffing ability and debuffing ability. It's the priest that goes on it is not good enough.
Yeah, because then it becomes 245 points, right? So
yeah, and of course, then you're priced into trying to give that priest a save, right? So you're probably going to be taking a 5-up ward at minimum. And yet, only 5 wounds. You don't get to plus the 3 wounds that you've purchased on the priest to
You do.
the world. You do. Sorry, it's on the 2 sheets because they do a different sheet. I hate
It's
that.
because
I hate
it's a
you.
chariot.
I hate you can
It's-
only take it, but see, you can only take it as a mount. So
Yeah.
why do they not have the plus on this bit instead of why giving us this nonsense? They should have a
Misprint.
plus
But
5 on.
yeah, so he's gonna have 8 wounds. Only a 4 up armor save. I wish it had a base 3 up. I think that would be nice. Or a built-in ward save. That would also be good, nice. It's not good. If in a world where someone at Games Workshop was like, you are not allowed to have a level 4 wizard. And if you even try it, we will shoot you in the face. You should take the War Altar of Sigmar. In that world where they're just like, you are not allowed to have this, you are not allowed to have good things, maybe take it, because -2 and MR2 combined is a real solid combo when you have nothing else.
Yep.
The fact is, you have so much else to take.
Yeah.
He's all like, to the War Altar is all bar immune to being like the target of spells. But another thing, why doesn't the War Altar let you cast spells better? What is, like, there's not enough Sigmar on this for you to be better than like you're not even as good as a 2/3 of the, no, you are 2/3 of the time. You're a 2/3 of the time you get your prayers. 1/3 of the time, no one can hear you. You're too far away.
Adam, why does this thing not just give your Archlector general on it +1 leadership? That would solve so many problems over this army.
Or veteran. Give it reroll. Give him rerolls.
Give it rerolls. Yeah, give it rerolls or +1.
Sure.
Just
yeah.
There's no It annoys me because I would love to play the world. It would be sick.
I want them. I want in the Arcane Journal for there to be a character War Altar that's just baby Volkmar the Grim, and he's even already called Volkmar the Grim. He's just the baby version.
So he's literally an infant.
He's literally a baby. And he still has chains attached to his arms for weapons.
8 pound, 5 ounce.
8 pound, 5 ounce. Volkmar the Grim.
The chains are literally twice his body weight.
Just little baby Volkmar the Grim, just dressed up like a hobo. Anyway, God, I miss him so much. Like this thing. Yes, take it if you have no other option. But don't.
Danny, you get the stank.
Oh my gosh, one of my favorite tools. So the steam tank. Hey, guess what, guys? It's movement 4.
Got
him.
Strength 6, toughness 7, 10 wounds. The engineer on top is an engineer in stat line, but he doesn't have any toughness because it's all part of the tank. So he just gets 1 attack, and he's ballistic skill 4. Which is great for the steam tank. The whole shebang costs 265 points, like we were talking about. This is a heavy chariot on a 60 by 100 millimeter base. It has an armor save value of 3+. And it comes equipped with the steam cannon the steam tank comes with a steam cannon and a steam gun. The engineer commander, the guy on top, can take a Hockland long rifle for 10. He can take pigeon bombs for 20 points. Or a repeater pistol for 8 points. It has the close order, grinding wheels, immune to psychology, impact hits D6+1, large target, steam power, stomp attack D3+1, temperamental, terror, and unbreakable special rules. So grinding gives your stomp attacks -2 AP. You just can't use it against behemoth, which makes it a behemoth without being a behemoth, which is great for killing blow. And then it has a steam power. So you can't march with it. You have to make a steam power roll. So you roll a dice and add it to the model's movement characteristic. It's 2d6. I'm sorry. Discard the lowest. The highest result is your steam power roll. If you roll the same result both times, you don't get anything. And then temperamental. If a natural 1 is rolled on either of the dice when the steam tank is making a steam power roll or charge roll, the pressure has reached dangerous levels, and if not quickly released, will cause irreparable damage. Choose one of the following: you lose a wound, or fui. The pressure is released, rendering the steam tank immobile. It halts immediately and cannot move for the remainder of this turn. If you roll double one, though, it takes a single wound and can't. It just both things happen. The steam cannon is effectively a cannon. It's strength 8 minus 2 AP with armor bane 2. Is cumbersome and multiple wounds D3. If you roll a misfire with the cannon, it just the steam tank takes a wound instead of rolling on the misfire table. So you always get to shoot it, which is nice. And then finally, the steam gun is a strength 2 breath weapon that you can't take armor saves against. So this thing is kind
Does
of
anybody
like,
so my issue with the steam
Yeah.
the steam tank is I like the stank a lot and I want to play with the stank a lot. It's very expensive, and as far as I can tell, no one's scared of it. It's not scary. I've played the stank and been tied up by so much nonsense because if it doesn't charge you, it kind of can't kill anything. Even if you charge it with just 10
Yeah.
idiots, they usually just go in front of you and you have to charge them again, and it just takes a turn away from the stank. Toughness 7, 10 wounds with the 3 up is quite nice. It is very hard to shift. Unbreakable is very good. It will lose combats all game, happily versus a dragon. It will eventually die. But for 260, 65, I wish it did a little. I wish it had like the reverse. I would much rather it have D6 plus 1 stomps and D3 plus 1 impact hits than the other way around. But I understand what it is.
Yeah.
Peter.
I have nothing to add. I think that we should go back to players spending 45 minutes of my game figuring out how many steam points they're going to spend every turn.
Okay, Sappy.
So that I can have more coffee breaks when I play against Empire players. Because if you didn't play previous editions, running an Empire steam tank, or 2 of them if you were a wild person, what meant that you needed to have like some kind of like algebra degree, apparently, to understand the probability of anything happening. At least that's what it seemed like for every player I played against, as they hummed and hawed over if they were going to spend 4 steam points or 3, and then nothing happened regardless when they finally spent their points. But yeah, I think this is fine. It's in a new world order where people are taking a million poison attacks. It's less fine, but it's like it's annoying. It's 265 points of annoying on the table.
It's priced obviously so you can't take 2 at 2,000 points, and I don't think taking 2 at 2,000 points would be problematic. I don't think it's that good.
Chaos Dwarf players take 2 Iron Demons all the time, and it does
Exactly.
like they're
not. It's not breaking the game. It's good, but it's not breaking the game.
game.
Yep. All right. Next up, a couple of Griffins for you, Peter.
Griffins. I love Griffins. So the regular Griffin, he's movement 6, he's weapon skill 5, he's strength 5. As a mount, which he has to be, or they have to be, you get +1 toughness, +3 wounds, initiative 5, 4 attacks, 130 points. Or you can get the Imperial version, which gives you strength 6 attacks and an additional wound, but 1 less initiative for 160 points. The Griffin is a monstrous creature. The Imperial Griffin, the big bonus is it's a behemoth, so it gets that lumbering special rule, which is very nice. It is much bigger at a 60 by 100 mil base versus the 50 by 50 for the tiny baby shit Griffin. For equipment, they both have Wicked Claws. They both have a Serrated Maw, and they can take they're born with it, a Griffonic Pelt. I believe that's how it's pronounced, which is heavy armor. You can pay an additional 20 points for your Imperial Griffin to have a second head. This gives it an extra attack. Regular
Specifically
Griffins,
an extra bite attack.
Yes, I apologize.
Yes. Yeah.
So the Griffin has Close Order, Fly 9, Large Target, D3 Stomps, Swift Stride, and Terror. The Imperial Griffin has Close Order, Fly 9, Large Target, Stomps, D3 plus 1, Swift Stride, Terror 2 heads.
There should be a comment there, but yeah.
There isn't one in my book, and so it's just Terror 2 heads.
It's Terror 2 heads. Not even a space.
So they, like already mentioned, Terror 2 heads gets you +1 modifier to your attacks. This has to be a serrated maw attack. So you get AP 2 attacks from the Wicked Claws, and you get Strength User, Armor Bane 2, multiple wound serrated maw attacks. I think the Griffin is neat. It, like we've already talked about, it's a slightly better or worse wyvern. The guy that rides it is shittier, unfortunately, in the general, but the mount itself is arguably better. Um, and like you just gotta, if you're running one, you just gotta make sure you're using it differently than your opponents
Yeah.
use their monsters.
It's no you can't use it like a dragon. It's not a dragon. It won't go into hell. It won't go into other like heavy cat. Like I've one game, I charged him into Blood Knights because I thought he could be somebody. I killed one. Yep.
So yeah, I like the Griffin. You should, if you're really struggling to figure out what to do with your life, take one. If you're not,
Yep.
don't.
Yep. Both perfectly fine. All right. Great cannons, mortars, hellblasters, and sorry, we should do we should do those separately, but I can do cannons and mortars at the same time. Cannon is 125. Mortar is 95. They are both toughness 6 with 3 wounds, leadership 7 with a couple of crew hanging around. You can upgrade them to have veterans for some reason. With the crew for 10 points, and they are skirmishers. They shoot exactly what you'd expect. The great cannon, being a great cannon, is an extra AP than what you'd expect. It's AP3.
It's strength 10, AP3, armor bane
Yep.
2.
Yep.
It's
And
at D3 plus 1 damage.
D3 plus 1. And mortars are bad. Don't take them. Yeah. Correct. All right. Moving on. Danny boy, feel free to do the Hellblaster.
All right, so with the Hellblaster, your standard war machine, toughness 6, 3 wounds, it costs 120 points. You get 3 crew. The stats on the Hellblaster are armor bane. It's 24-inch range, strength 5, AP -1, armor bane 2, cumbersome, Hellblaster, move or shoot. The Hellblaster rule: when shooting the Hellblaster volley gun, roll 3 artillery dice before making any rolls to hit. The number of shots fired is equal to the total of all 3 artillery dice. If you roll 1 misfire, everything is -1 to hit. If you roll 2 misfires, no shots are fired, and a critical fault has occurred, roll on the misfire table. And then if it misfires roll on all 3, it fires 30 shots, and then is removed from play. And it uses the black powder misfire table.
Once, just once in my life on turn 6, I want to roll triple misfire. Just like let's just go out in a bang. It's a very fun misfire table. Like to triple misfire. I mean, I unless you're playing all cav, Hellblaster's auto take for me. Peter, what do you think?
I don't know if it's auto take. It's great though. It's so swingy is the problem, right? Like some games you're just gonna delete stuff. You need in some games it's not gonna do anything. You need an engineer if you're gonna take the Hellblaster. And the beautiful thing about the Hellblaster versus the cannon or mortar or anything like that is the engineer will always have something to do if you have a Hellblaster beside him, right? Because he's as once you roll your dice, you'll know, oh, I have 2 misfires or 1 misfire. I need to re-roll that misfire. If you don't have any misfires, +1 ballistic skill. And now that sucker's really flaring out there. Empire has no shortage of like strength 4, strength 5, AP 1 shots is the only reason why you might consider not taking one. If you're running a bunch of outriders or things already, it's kind of just more of the same.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like it's a great piece of artillery.
Yeah, I've had this just delete whole units of cavalry. I've had this do absolutely nothing as well. But I still love the Hellblaster. It's for me, I like I said, unless I'm playing an all cav or a very cav centric army where I just want to be mobile and not leave anything behind, the Hellblaster's made just about everyone on my lists. Peter, Hellstorm.
Oh man, I wish this is what it used to be.
Me too.
So it's just like all the artillery, toughness 6, 3 wounds, 125 points. It's got a gun crew. Nobody gives a shit. It's got a Hellstorm rocket battery, which has a range of 12 to 48 inches, strength 3, thanks, AP 1, cumbersome, Hellstorm, move or shoot special rules. This weapon uses a number of 3-inch blast templates and the black powder special misfire table. Hellstorm rocket battery launches a barrage of shitty rockets high into the sky, passing over. It's written in the book, guys. Like, don't even.
This is rules as written.
Rules as
Yeah,
written.
this is as raw as it gets.
Passing over intervening regiments and even terrain. When shooting with this weapon, work your way through the following steps. You will never do this because you are just never going to take this unless you're going to a narrative event. But I'm reading it for you because it's the first time I've read it, this edition, since the first time I read it, when I realized how bad it was. Choose a target. There's no line of sight required. Instead, choose an enemy unit that is somewhere within 12 and 48 inches and place a D3 blast template so that the center hole is of each of them is over that unit. And look your opponent dead in the eye. Now, roll scatter. Once each template has been placed, do not look. It will scatter. It has to. Roll an artillery dice and a scatter dice for each template in turn. Never take your eyes off your opponent. If a misfire is rolled on the artillery dice, the rocket has failed. Once all shots from this weapon have been resolved, roll on the appropriate misfire table for each misfire rolled. If a hit is rolled, use the small arrow, because this can't hit, to determine the direction of the scatter and move the template a number of inches equal to the roll of the artillery dice minus the crew's ballistic skill to a minimum of 0. If an arrow is rolled on the scatter dice, move it that many inches in the direction the arrow points. Damage. Any model whose base lies underneath the template risks being hit by this weapon.
Ooh.
So, you have the chance to do 3 strength 3 AP 1 hits with this thing, in my opinion. This is garbage. Like, when I remember when my friends used to run this thing in previous editions, and you just never knew what was going to happen. That shit would fly all over the place. He'd hit your own units. And then sometimes, all of a sudden, they'd roll 3 direct hits. They wouldn't scatter it barely at all. And they'd like wipe out your 24-man Black Orc unit. And you'd just be like, oh, hello. This thing will not wipe out a 24-man Black Orc unit.
So
this might kill a goblin.
So my biggest issue, right? Because there, theoretically, let's just say the game went crazy and everyone started taking those Tomb King bricks. Yeah, let's just theoretically, we're in absolute fantasy land, but let's continue. If everyone absolutely started just being like, "Yo, let's just play 100 plus idiots in this unit," sick. If I could take 2 Hellstorm batteries and like put down 6 templates for 2 or 3 turns with the old template rules, like let's just say we had old template rules, but these rules, cool. I would consider that. I would genuinely consider that. But the template rules and the fact that this is only D3 templates, so 125 points for some of the time 1 template
D3,
that can't.
Isn't it? It's 3. You get your 3.
No.
Is it D3?
D3.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I read it wrong.
Yeah,
it's even worse than you thought, Peter.
Even worse, Peter. The fact that it's D freaking 3, it should just be 3. Templates are so bad, it should just be 3. The fact that you pay 125 points for 1
what is happening?
Template, like, oh my god,
Who wrote this book?
This is next to the pigeon bomb for me, possibly just slightly.
This
lower.
should shoot 3 pigeon bombs.
Just...
I would take it.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. Here's the deal. Here's the old world charm hot deal. If you want to, if you're playing a game against anybody from the old world charm, and your army can take a Hellstorm rocket battery either via mercenaries or via whatever, you can play a 2,125 point army if you take the special Hellstorm rocket battery that only shoots D3 pigeon bombs a turn. Okay?
I'm in.
But you have to use their scatter and the pigeon bomb rule. You got to roll on the pigeon bomb table and roll on the Hellstorm table.
Oh, the pigeon battery.
Yes. The pigeon battery is
the
on.
Hellstorm pigeon battery.
The Hellstorm pigeon battery.
Budgie.
All right.
Okay,
if you ever play me at a tournament, yeah, and we're like, I like years from now, I want this to happen. You're just playing like high elves or whatever, and then you're like, oh, you're Adam from that old world show, yeah, and then you just quietly pick up a Hellstorm battery and put it on the table, and you're playing like high elves or some shit. I will kiss you. I think I will kiss you. if not propose.
You just pull it out of your bag like you've been
Yeah,
keeping it there for all these years.
It's
You
been
pull
there
out-
for
I've only
years.
missed one opponent, and they were not happy. So
Mm. Yeah. But yeah, the Hellstorm Pigeon Battery. Do it. Make it a thing. All right, that's it for the units. The only banger in here is legitimately Demogryph Knights. Everything is mid to worse.
well,
And
Wizard
that's
Lords,
Empire.
they're a good price. Anyway. But yes, Demogryphs.
All right. Empire magic items. First up is the Rune Fang, 100 points. Strength user, AP2, magical attacks and strikes first. When making a to wound roll for hit caused by the Rune Fang, I roll a 2+ is always successful regardless of the model's toughness. If it wasn't 100 points, if this was 50 points, 60 points, 70 points, maybe on a Grandmaster that I really wanted to try with, but for 100 points, none of your characters are durable enough. You'll hit first, do 1 to 2 wounds to a dragon if you're lucky, and die. Because you don't have any defense. You've got at best a 2-up or a 3-up armor save because you spend all your points here. Anything to add on the Rune Fang, boys?
No.
No, it's an iconic weapon.
I'm sad that it's where it's at because it's
Yeah.
supposed to be the coolest magic item in the game.
It's cool. It's really cool. Strikes first, AP2, always wound on a 2+ is good. 100 points is death, though. 100 points is just bad.
Yeah.
Hear me out. If this thing was like multiple wounds,
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
multiple wounds
yeah.
too.
then maybe we're starting to
that?
talk here.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. I
You
mean, how
could
much you
make
pay?
multiple wounds, I suppose.
How much do you pay for the Ogre Blade?
65.
Yeah, and it's better than this.
Yeah, I agree.
Rough. All right, Danny, you're up next.
Okay, next on the list of wonderful magic items, we have the Mace of Hellstrom. Hey, look at that, 65 points. You can directly compare this to the Ogre Blade.
Oh boy, I can't wait. That's gonna be my favorite thing.
Single-handed. It has 2 different profiles, and you can choose. You have to make your choice at the start of the round of combat before seeing what your opponent does. If used double-handed, you can only make 1 attack regardless of your attack characteristic. So single-handed is combat. It's strength user with magic attacks. It is a straight up
Hand weapon.
magic thing. And then double-handed, you go to strength 10, -5 AP. Magic attacks multiple wounds D6 and requires 2 hands. So you cannot use a shield with it. I don't know, guys. Strength 10 is pretty good.
Bless you,
This
sir.
is a great profile, except for the italics.
Yeah. I mean, would it have killed them to make the one-handed like half as good as the two-handed? Make
Yeah,
it like AP2 at strength 5? Like, would it have killed them to do that?
Yes, it would have. That's why they didn't.
Yeah.
It's
Like-
actually
Yeah.
Old Sawyer's life was in the balance here, and they just did not risk it.
So I don't know if Danny said it because I'm
Oh.
tired, but the italics here is that if you use a two-handed, you only get to make 1 attack.
Correct.
Yep.
And pre-FAQs, people were using this on like wizards, illusion wizards, to just be like, I'm going to make 2d6 strength 10 AP5 multiple wound d6 attacks. And then the FAQ came out and said, no, don't be a crazy person. That we didn't want you to do that. We didn't want you to have fun. And so they don't anymore.
Yeah. We didn't want you to have like one respectable melee thing you could do in this book.
No, absolutely.
All right, moving on. Peter.
That's the noise I make when I'm about to read. The
Was that
Sword of Justice. My laptop is freaking out because you picked on me. It's like it doesn't know what to do. Shit, what did I do? Sword of Justice is 50 points. I remember that much. Sorry.
All right, Danny, read the flavor
Sword of
text.
Justice is 50 points. It's strength user, AP -1, and it has good special rules. Armor Bane 1, magic attacks, multiple wounds 2. That's great. And then it also lets you re-roll failed to wound rolls.
So legitimately better than the Rune Fang for half the points, as far as I can tell.
It's for sure arguable, and I think, it is better.
The
Yeah.
fact that it's comparable bothers me. The fact that
It's
it's
sad.
comparably
That's sad.
as good. because rerolls to wound, I mean, strength 4 is the best you're going to wield. So, yeah, wounding on 5s and 6s is probably where you're going to live fighting against relevant opponents. But
Yep.
wounds 2 is just good.
Yeah, like if you had native killing blow, like if you were a witch hunter and witch
correct.
hunters had more than like 2 attacks,
Yep.
I would think about this.
Peter, you're back. You alive?
No, my cat was doing some wild shit, and now like I can't bring up the my file. So just give me a minute while I reload it.
Okay.
You guys can keep talking. Like
Dragon bow, 25 points. It's a banger. Range 36, strength 6, AP 2, magical attacks at multiple wounds 2. It's for commanders of the Empire only, so generals and captains. And I love the dragon bow. I've been playing with the Captasis quite a lot lately, which is a captain on a Pegasus with a great weapon and the dragon bow. And he's an annoying bastard because he'll just fly around. He's very happy to charge your light cav and your war machines. And the dragon bow means if he wants to play keep away, he teams up with my ruby ring, and they both just sit on a flank and just pepper. So I really like the dragon bow. I think it's actually quite good because I think your BS are you BS5 with the captain?
Yep. Captain and general are both BS5.
Yeah. Very nice, very nice. And of course, on a peg, you are fly 10, so you just kind of go wherever you want.
And short range is 18 on this thing too, which is basically charge range. So
correct.
Yeah, I like
it's
that.
I like it a lot. If you're back, Peter, you got the first magic armors.
Ah, yes, here we go. The armor of fortune engraved with runes of luck and providence. The armor of fortune turns aside fatal blows armlessly.
It's 45 points, guys. It's heavy armor. It gives you a 6+ ward save against any wounds, and more importantly, immune to killing blow. If you would be struck by a killing blow, you still get your armor saves, you still get your regen saves, and if you somehow still fail all those things, you only lose a single wound.
Oh, that's nice.
You should put this on
45 points.
Trash,
put this on the sergeant of your unit of knights.
Yeah, I have considered it.
When you lose that one wound, you just die anyway.
I thought you were going to say Demigryph Knights. That's the only
I meant like Empire Knights. Put this on your preceptor. No, it's
you gotta love making their armor save worse.
Yes, please make your armor save worse. It's fine. There are like some builds out there now that are spamming killing blow, and this is nice to have, but I wouldn't spend 45 points on it.
Me either. Danny boy.
Armor of Tarnus, 35 points. It's a suit of light armor, which can be purchased and worn by an Imperial wizard, even if they don't have the option to be equipped with armor, a shield, or barding without penalty. In addition, the wearer has a 5+ ward save against any wounds suffered. This is a great item.
Yeah,
Auto
I love it.
Take. I've taken it every game, every single game. In addition to the next one, which is the White Cloak, which is 30 points. The bearer of the White Cloak has a 3+ ward save against any wound suffered and a 3+ against flaming attacks. So 2 very good ways to get 5+ ward saves at will, in addition to Talisman of Prez. So you have just 3 relatively similar points costed ways to get 5+ in bombs.
It's just better than the Talisman of Preservation.
Yeah. It is. It's just straight up better. But a lot of the time I'm taking all 3. Armor of Tarnus, White Cloak, and Talisman of Preservation. Just sometimes 2 level 4s, they get the White Cloak and the Armor of Tarnus. And Danny boy, next.
So next we have the Jade Amulet. This is an extremely common magic item that costs 25 points. I almost said 65 points. The bearer is immune to killing blow. If he struck a killing blow, they are permitted armor and regen saves as normal. If the wound is unsaved, they lose a single wound.
Yeah, if you're really scared about killing blow, take this instead of the Armor of Fortune, please.
Correct.
Correct. If you're that worried.
You don't downgrade your freaking armor save also a lot of the time.
Do you guys think that it doesn't protect you against Monster Slayer? I mean, I know why it doesn't do that because of balance. But
because Empire would be wildly unbalanced.
Oh my god.
The Griffin would be cool then, right?
I would be. I'd love it. Magical standards. My go. Imperial Banner, 60 points. This fine silken standard is a proud reminder of a time is unified as one. All friendly units within the command range of this model carrying the Imperial Banner roll 3d6 when making fear, panic, or terror tests and discard the highest result. This is a very expensive banner for your standard Empire build. If you were doing something wild and crazy with like a ton of like Fire and Flee, for example, with like Outriders and stuff, I think this is perfectly fine to take. Otherwise, I would normally not take it. I guess the other example would be like if you're in a meta that's filled with undead and demons, this isn't a terrible idea, but
I totally thought you were gonna say a proud reminder of the time when the Empire was good. You really
I
did.
should have.
I totally
I
thought
would
you were.
think
I,
to
pre-
read this book, but
I preemptively started chuckling. I'm sorry. Griffin Standard is up next, and I quite like it for a very specific build, which has proven to not be that good. But I still got a soft spot. It's 50 points, 50. When determining your combat result, a unit carrying the Griffin Standard can claim a rank bonus of +2 for each extra rank after the first, rather than the usual +1. So this is part of a core part of the build of having just one brick of some kind of troop, usually veteran state troops, that just has like 8 static combat res for your undead destroying abilities, which has proven to, like I said, not be that relevant, unfortunately. But apart from that, if you want to try that build, if you've got a crap load of undead in your meta, maybe it's good to go. My problem was I kept playing as Warriors Chaos, and they just put one unit of like 5 knights in, and that unit would stay there the entire game. And yep, that was that. Gleaming
I'm
Pennant up
sorry.
next. You're not sorry.
Gleaming Pennant is 15 points. It's a single-use magic banner. A unit carrying the Gleaming Pennant can reroll a single failed leadership test. Great for your warrior priest.
Yep.
Yep.
If
That's it.
you need to take it,
It's the
Make
only
it count.
way in the freaking book to make sure that warrior priest goes off, and it costs you another 15 points. And it's not even on the warrior priest; it's on the unit that he's in. Yeah, it's cute. Peter,
Banner of Duty, 10 points. This venerable banner steals the hearts of despairing warriors, renewing their will to fight on. You can reroll failed rally tests with this for 10 points. It's pretty good.
nice. The
I
other
would
thing
take this over the Imperial Banner sometimes if you're going to go for that Fire and Flee build, but both are good.
other thing that shits me about the Gleaming Pennant, it should be a magic. It should be a common standard. There's heaps of pennants out in the Empire. There's tons of them. Most of them gleam. What am I talking about? All right, Laurels of Victory, 40 points in the enchanted items. When determining combat result, each unsaved wound caused by an attack made by the bearer of the Laurels of Victory is worth 2 combat res rather than 1. I have played with the Laurels of Victory on my Griffin captain, and I found it not too bad. It means that when he goes into like bigger bricks of things and he just like kills 2 guys with his great weapon because he's only got 3 attacks, he's got 4. He's got 4 combat res, then plus the Griffin, plus the stomps. It can go okay, and it can make him be different. He doesn't need to do as much damage. There's not much pressure to do as much damage. How does this? So for the people at home, will this affect the Griffin attacks, boys? What's your thoughts?
It says the bearer, right?
That's my
And
thoughts
so,
as well.
like, what's that?
That's my thoughts as well. But go
Yeah,
on.
yeah. And I think that would be like what I would hang my hat on. I think this
Yeah.
is cool with that sword that does multiple wounds too.
Oh, that's true.
Sword of Justice, yep.
Yep. Because my biggest issue right now with the Griffin and the Griffin Lord is that I'll charge, like, let's theoretically say some crazy mofo just decided to take a unit of boar boys, a small unit of 5 boar boys. I charge into them with the Griffin. I get challenged by the captain, and sometimes I'll lose that combat. Sometimes he'll just lay the biggest egg you've ever seen and lose. I'll kill the Sarge, and then I'll get close order banner, and it'll be 2-1, and I'll lose. Whereas with this, it's 2-2 at least, and then if they got a musician, I still lose. Lol. All right, Silverhorn's up next. Danny.
So the Silverhorn is a 15-point item. Characters with the Swift Stride special rule only. So it's limited to only characters that have that. The bearer of the Silverhorn and a unit they've joined may re-roll the D6 when using the Swift Stride rule. Yeah, this is cool for 15 points. If you're going to take a bus of something, it's cool on a Demogryph champion.
Yep. Agreed. I like it. I am a fan.
The Shroud of Iron for 10 points. This strange device resembles a market traitor's awning. When unfurled, the Shroud of Iron protects its bearer from harm falling from on high. The bearer of the Shroud of Iron and any unit they have joined gets a 6+ ward save against any wounds suffered that were caused by a non-magical template.
Lol.
So when your opponent runs that Hellstorm rocket battery,
Pigeon
against
battery. Pigeon battery.
you, this is your trump card, your 10-point trump card.
I wish it didn't have. So I would almost take so for 10 points. If I knew I was playing against Wood Elves all the time, I'd almost take this. If it took away the non-magic template bit, if it was just template.
Well,
I think
in 8th edition, the Shroud of Iron was 10 points, and it was just a 6+ ward save against shooting.
Correct.
Straight up.
Correct. And it was fine. It was actively fine.
It was
right.
marginally used.
So,
I agree with that.
Arcane Items, Book of Assure, 85 points. Quite pricey. The bearer of the Book of Assure increases their dispel range by 3 inches unless they roll a natural roll of a double 1. May apply a +1 modifier to their casting or dispel rolls.
Any
However,
natural double.
Any rational one, yeah. However, if the bearer rolls any natural double when making a casting or dispel roll, the book is proven to be a poor reproduction full of glaring errors, and the +1 modifier cannot be applied to the roll. I love how they put the flavor text in the rule. Yeah. But this is why is this 85 points when it should be only for 85 points. There should be no downside to this. It should have stopped when it at the +1 modifier to casting rolls. It's 85 points, man. It's a lot.
Yeah, but like it gives you +3 inches of range, +1 to your casting and dispel both. Mm-hmm. And like other artifacts that are pretty pricey, their negative downside is generally way worse. Like the item explodes,
yeah, that's true.
You die.
Yeah, that's true.
This one, it's just for that one cast, you don't get +1 on a double. Yes, I do wish that for 85 points, it just didn't have a downside. I agree, but this is like one where, if you compare it to like the Staff of Kaboom or whatever it is for orcs, which is like 60 points for +1 to cast or +2 to cast, but on a natural roll of doubles, you just fucking die or you take like 2-3 wounds or whatever it is. Like this is significantly better than that. So
yeah, fair. I'll take that. You're correct.
I don't like it, but it's fair.
Yeah, like it should just have no downside. But if we're gonna do it this way, of the options, it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, Wizard's Familiar.
Wizard's Familiar is an extremely common magic item for 35 points. It's 0 to 1 per wizard. The owner of a Wizard's Familiar may apply a +1 modifier to any of their dispel rolls. And for some reason, the italics say, note that this is a modifier to the result of the roll. It does not negate a roll of a natural double 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's like fine. I mean, +1 to dispel is always pretty useful. I would always take this, right? Like one of them.
Yeah, if you have 35 points, you should for sure. Especially because you have to beat with dispels, right? So this kind of makes you even with your opponent.
Yeah. Is it funny? Is it funny that I'm really happy it doesn't negate the double 1s because a double 1 still has a chance to dispel? Funnily enough, like double 1 has a chance to auto dispel a spell. So it's actually better that it doesn't stop the double 1s.
Yeah, gives you like that 50-50 shot.
And Peter, you get the last one.
The Wizard's Staff. Throughout the old world, wizards carry ensorcelled staffs through which they can channel and direct the powers.
What is that?
The bearer of the wizard staff gains +1 modifier to casting when attempting to cast an assailment spell or a magic missile.
I love it. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's extremely common. It's 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
You take this on like a demonology wizard or battle magic if you know. I like demonology because like you're probably going to take the summoning, and then like it just gives you that like +5 to cast on something big. I like it.
Yeah, I think it's excellent. I think it's legitimately one of the best magic items in the book, and I take it every game. And that brings us to the end of the review. And now we have to do our rating system. So, boys, out of 10, how happy do you think Empire players should be with this book? Peter, you want to go first?
D.
That's
D out of 10.
Okay. Yeah, D out of 10. Danny, you want to beat that?
It's a 6.
Yeah.
Ooh, really? That's way more generous. Having played this thing extensively now, it's a 3 for me.
Whoa, dang, Adam, that's brutal. I see where you're coming from. Like, I think this is a disappointment to Empire players.
After being a dozen games in, I can't get excited to play the army. I like playing the army, but I'm never thrilled to play it. Like, I'm constantly thrilled to play different ogre stuff, despite getting my ass handed to me lately on ogres. I still am. I'm still excited to innovate and try this build, try that build, try a Thunder Tusk over a Stonehorn or a couple of Hunters or whatever. And I don't get any of that from Empire. It just feels so lacking of spice. And I can say this now that we're into the book, there's nothing here, like there's no elven honors here. There's nothing to enhance your characters. There's no way to make them better at a thing. There's no magic lore. There's no extra spice. There's nothing here but the vanilla ice cream. And not even the good vanilla ice cream. This stuff comes in like a 2-liter tub. And unless you don't get any sprinkles, you've got no fudge, fudge sauce in the fridge. You got nothing.
Yeah.
You got nothing to enhance this flavor. You just get vanilla ice cream, liters of it. And there's a lot of stuff in here that's good. Like I said, Demigriffs, Hellblasters. I enjoy playing with Stanks. Cannons are fine. Knights are fine. There's still good stuff in here, but it doesn't. There's no way to There's no way to add a new dynamic. You know what I mean? Like there's no way to really pump up the jams.
Yeah.
Falcon, any retort to what I've just said, being my primary opponent with my Empire?
No, I mean, every time I play against Empire, or now that I've been practicing with them, play with it, I always feel like they're just I feel the same way I do with at least before the Arcane Journal, I felt with dwarves, where I always felt like I wanted, if I had 200 more points, I'd make up a list in my head and I'd be like, oh, if I do this and this and this, it'll be really cool. And then I make that list and it's 2,200 points. And in my head, that's what I need to be as strong as the other armies that I enjoy playing, or maybe are close to it. So yeah, it's a very binary army if you rely on shooting, and they don't have the sticking power because great swords and stuff just aren't up to snuff.
So I think I've narrowed it down. This is going to be, I don't know, weird, maybe weird terminology for some, but the play patterns are too linear. When put in a position to make plays and try and win the game, I find myself not being able to execute the things I want to do. And this is just my interpretation of where I get to on the table. When the game is in the balance and I need to do something spicy, explosive, exciting, I need to change the board state. All my play patterns are too straightforward, too face up, and too easy for my opponent to play around. Nothing does more than it says on the box. That makes sense. So yeah, where do we think if we were to put these guys in a tier list? We got top tier, mid tier, bottom tier. Boys, Danny, where do you put Empire?
I'd probably put Empire pretty close to the bottom of the tier list.
Yep. I tend to agree. Sorry, keep going.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah. And yeah, I think that they don't have solutions to a lot of problems, or the solutions that they have are difficult and cumbersome.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. Peter, where would you put them?
That's it. They're like a C or a D tier army to me. They can win an event. Don't get me wrong. You can play your ass off and get the right matchups, and you can pull off a win with this army at an event. But I think if you were equally skilled against Wood Elves, Warriors of Chaos, just
Bretonnia.
about Bretonnia, Tomb Kings, I don't know what you do.
Yeah, that's kind of where I've come to with it as well. And I do agree. I think they're a bottom tier faction. They're somewhere above Dark Elves and Skaven, but below any of the undead.
I think Dark Elves are better than Empire.
Oh, really? All right, that's the game we're playing, buddy. You just locked yourself in. Into the crucible of mediocrity. We shall go.
All right, cool.
And on that note, we are done for this episode. We have a beautiful selection of wonderful patron questions waiting for us over on part 2. Hopefully you'll join us. We're also going to be talking and designing some Empire lists, because these boys are going to help me write the list that I will wield next, most likely into Danny's goodness. And thank you very much for your incredible support. Hopefully this hasn't been too hard a trudge through the mud, as this is a bit of a tooth-pulling exercise, but we have our Arcane Journal on the horizon, and if it enhances them the way the last couple have enhanced those armies, I think Empire's in for a pretty good time. Anything to say before we check out, boys?
Nope.
Did you? There it is. I heard the kiss then. All right. Everyone.
You've been listening to That Old World Charm with those charming chaps Adam, Danny, and Peter the Falcon. Thanks ever so much. Cheerio.